This is kind of what we were talking about with Jalen Hurts in the first hour. Jalen Hurts going to have what's the next step? The next step is nothing to do with numbers. It's all with the process and being the best Jalen Hurts he can be. That's what you want. And so when Nakobe Dean talks, and now you're hearing him, dude, this is about classwork, studying, tendencies, game film, classwork, not having false steps, listening, reaching out to players maybe that – dude, I definitely would call Seth Joyner. Seth, give me your prep. See, to me, let me tell you what's worth – and when I get Garry Cobb on here, I think you'll understand. Dude, you never, ever, ever, ever want to go into a camp and not ask this question. See, when people want to make money in life, they want people to give it to them. What you should be asking is how you made it, because that's eternal. The money that someone gives you is spent. You don't know the process. What you need to have is, see, I have a process, whether I'm paid $500,000 a year or $5, I can't deviate off that process. Okay? You have to have a process. Okay? And so the key is, can I have the blueprint on how you prepare and how you are a pro? That's the key to lasting and being successful in that league. I'm telling you. How many times have we seen talented players get into the NFL and they get lost? And you're like this, shit, man. How did that guy not make it? Because he didn't know the blueprint. Barrett Brooks had one of the best blueprints on how to make it in the NFL. He believed in a process. That's why he played 12 years. It's why guys like Seth Joyner, Seth's been on this program numerous times, and Seth has told you, hey, I put a blueprint together on what I needed to do to become a successful guy. He was a late round draft choice, but he had to put the extra work in. And guess what? Buddy showed him. Buddy showed him how to win. Buddy showed him how to be a pro. And when you got people like that you trust, like Tracy Rocker, the process and the steps become a little bit more easier to digest. See, this is what you got going on in Philly. Boy, the commonality that you have with one another in that building is so great. All the Georgia guys, okay? All the Georgia guys, I said it last week, they're bringing a vibe of youth and spirit to the team. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm before I bring Garry Cobb in. So when you hear a guy like Jordan Davis saying this, hey, more is expected of me. I've got to be a leader. He's first in drills. And when you get rid of Javon Hargrave, like I said, now you take the baton on being a leader. Just in his body language. I see a different Jordan Davis. That's called growth. And to me, that goes with, like we were saying, the culture of the building. I think there's a great vibe going on there at OTAs right now. Let's bring Garry Cobb in, our friend, and get his thoughts from Fox 29 Philadelphia. Am I right, Gary, when I say that these young Georgia guys, man, they're bringing a great vibe and a youthful vibe to the building there. And when you hear a guy like Davis talking about responsibilities of stepping up and seeing him make those comments, I mean, if you're the Eagles, you got to be liking what you're hearing and seeing. And again, you're in helmets and shorts, but it's body language here.
Well, I think it's that, and I think it's the fact that when you come from a winning organization, look, winning doesn't just happen, especially if you got somebody's winning consistently. There's something being done right. And so generally it's a mindset. So I know you experienced that in college. I experienced that in college where you got to work. I mean, some point there's got to be work done and people got to be shooting for excellence. And so you get kind of a taste of where, look, you can't wait around for somebody else to do it. You got to step up and make sure you're doing your part. And so I think that those guys come in with that, so they know how to push themselves some. They know how to, make sure that, hey, you're ready to do your job. And so I think that's what we're seeing. And yes, he's heard clearly that last year, he wasn't in good enough shape. He's got to get in better shape. And I'm sure they had no problem telling him that we expect more out of you this year. And I think he expects more out of himself. And so that goes along with it. And that's why, you don't necessarily need to just go out and grab every guy because he played for a championship team. But the fact that he was one of the keys to a team that was winning, you're not shocked when the guy knows how to look himself in the mirror and say, I gotta do better than that. I gotta raise the bar. And I think all those guys, they're used to competing. You don't stay at the top by accident. It just doesn't happen. Just like when I started meeting all the guys, meeting Michael Irvin and, of course, the big guy.
Too tall.
Well, not too tall. No, well, for the Eagles, I'm talking about, the defensive tackle when unfortunately it passed.
Jerome.
When you meet Jerome not going to sit over there and not say anything when guys aren't doing their job or, you're getting beat. He's not over there, just like, okay, I guess this is just what. No, he's gonna start getting fired up the same way he did when he was in college. So you learn, what does it take to win? You got to have people that step up. You got to have leaders. You can't just be waiting for everybody else to do something. You got to do something. And I think in that environment, come on, you're playing you're playing in big games in front of the nation, and you're playing against another good team. Somebody's got to make some plays. So I think these guys have been in that atmosphere. That's the atmosphere of the NFL. So they don't know everything, but part of the things, they're used to being in competitive competition where you got to deliver. And they know that. And that's why teams win. It's not an accident. And I think this is a good environment. They're used to it. And so they're used to being pushed. And they are going to be pushed. They are going to be expected where you expect guys to make plays. So they know that's what's going to be expected out of them.
Garry, I said this in the first hour about Hurts, and there was a comment that came out of OTAs and the Eagle organization that we're expecting Jalen to make a significant leap this year. I said this to folks. If you're putting that to numbers, then you're misguided. I said to me, the reason that they're investing in this guy, maybe this is more of a statement, Garry. Tell me if you agree with it, though. It's more of that I want Jalen Hurts to be the best Jalen Hurts. I want him to be better at decision-making, continuing to evolve that. Yeah. I mean, to put a number like 4,700 passing yards or 30 touchdowns, I think is too micro. You got to think macro with this guy. The more he improves with his patience and decision-making, don't you think that is what's going to result in the championships and in the wins? Not throwing for 4,700 yards. The players are – look at what he did a year ago, Garry.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown, career year. Devontae Smith, career year. Miles Sanders, career year. Goddard was on pace, career year. And he didn't throw for $4,000.
That's right.
I mean, you don't see that. Am I off base?
I think you hit it on the head, because they want him to move, take another step up, and I think he's probably going to be able to do that. In that, because he sees the field quicker, he's going to recognize things quicker. His decision making is going to be the place where he makes the jump. Where he will make the subtle decisions. He'll see something before it even is in his face. He recognizes and is expecting what the other team is going to do. And that a lot of that, what he's going to do, predicting what he's going to see the next down, because he's been in a situation. And, this is where quarterbacks, that's why, veteran quarterbacks You have a lot of confidence in them because you can't really show them much that they haven't seen. And if they've seen it, then they know which way, where they're going with the ball. Like, you take a Brady. Come on, Brady would look at the defense. He knows where he's going with the ball right away. He knows where he's going with the ball. He knows what he's going to see. And that's where you make those jumps as a quarterback. Because, as a player, playing defense, I know that that's really where you get better as a defensive player because you've seen things right away. You recognize what they're going to do even before the play. You're going, hey, watch the such. And the other team starts looking at themselves like you've been in their huddle because you know what to expect, formations, all those type of things. And that's what a veteran quarterback, the more years, the more time you see things, you're quicker when it comes to recognition, anticipation. So you're getting rid of the ball a split second, or you know where you're going with the ball. And that's where they probably will give him more room to, make adjustments at the line of scrimmage. They can do that because he will see, hey, I saw this, I went to this, so you get a lot of that. That's really where quarterbacks continue. And every year he will continue to get better in that area. And that's what separates, a veteran quarterback, not to mention, his ability that the thing that he made the big move last year was throwing the football. He was accurate with his throws. I mean, deep throws, great deep throws. I mean, he hadn't been accurate like that previously, but much more accurate with the ball. So I think you'll see continued improvement there. But you saw a big jump last year. But you'll continue to see improvement, but it's going to be in the recognition. So you won't just see it right out. You'll just see it with the results, probably.
How about this one here? So I get Marty Callner on the program, and he's the creator of Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to some of my friends at HBO. I'm like, hey, man, what about the Eagles? They just gave a guy $50 million. You got one of the Kelsey brothers on the team.
Yeah.
You got Big Mouth Slay. You got Hassan Reddick. You got A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
You got the singing offensive line. You got Mulata.
Yeah.
You got the guy who's on the bench screaming, the head coach, Nick Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
What about it? He goes, the Eagles cannot want to do this, but do you think that organization, you being around it, is that something that's up their lane, or is that something that's not going to intrigue them? Because I think that's a really good team to be on Hard Knocks would be the Eagles.
I think they definitely would be a good team. They probably have turned it down in the past, and maybe that's where Jeffrey Lurie comes in and
he's a TV guy too, right?
Yeah, he is, but maybe he doesn't want that spotlight on them. But they would be definitely a great team that the NFL would want on that. But the team has to agree to it. And the whole thing is, do they think it will be distracting? I mean, media is going to be there, so I don't see why it would be that distracting. And the ultimate thing for them is, they got to win. They got to focus. They got to win. So it just would be another few cameras there. I don't see it's going to be a big deal because the media is going to be there anyway.
What do you think had a better personality, the 17 team or this one?
Oh boy. Well, the 17 team, yeah, they had some personalities. I think of Chris Long was on there. Of course with
Jeffries.
That's right. You had Jeffries, even though he didn't talk a lot. I might have to say this group though, because you got Slay, AJ,
Reddick.
Yeah, Reddick.
These guys do talk. If you put a mic, these guys do talk, Gary. If you put a mic in front of them,
they do talk a lot. They do talk a lot, and I think that they're on social media talking. So I probably would go with this group that they talk even more, and I think it's the way the league is going. So
absolutely, Gary. Let me throw this at you here with Sean Desai.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to be more aggressive? Do you think they're going to be as conservative? How are you thinking he's going to use? Because you and I have said this the last 2 weeks. Yeah. They're more athletic, they're less experienced, they're younger, and they're not as deep. So what formula do you think we're looking at here? More conservative, more more opportunity to be more athletic, which means I think situational stunts? Or do you think it'll be a lot of the same in what we saw a year ago, or more versatile maybe? I don't know. How do you see this thing playing out in the approach that they'll use with this roster, especially on defense?
Well, they are going to, again, they're going to rely on that defensive line getting there. That's what they're going to be relying on. Now, I could see them playing more man, though, because I think that the
fear of the linebackers and safety.
Yeah, I think they would probably want to lean on their.
I think we froze a little bit there. Let's see. Hey, Tone, see if we can reconnect here with Garry a little bit here. I think we've froze up here a little bit. So let's see. That to me is going to be one of the question marks. How are they going to use all the new talent and all the weapons they have? Like, how are they using Nolan Smith this coming season? And I do think one of the reasons that they have something to look at is obviously because of Hassan Reddick. So, Garry, just kind of expand on that a little bit, how you think you're going to see this defense implement some of the new players and the youth we have on it this year.
Well, the thing is, I think they come into it and they know what they have. They didn't know what they had last year when it comes to the pass rush. You lose Hargrave.
So you think that caught them off guard, those 70 sacks?
I don't think they – oh, come on.
No, I didn't either.
They went into the season thinking they were going to have that kind of consistent pressure. But they come in this year and they know, look, we still got the same guys coming from outside. So, in fact, 3 of the guys that had the 10 sacks, they're still here. So that all had 10 sacks. So we lost one guy, and I think that they still feel like, look, we can get there with the guys. Like, we're going to have the 5-man pass rush. We're going to be doing that, and they're going to probably think they're better because they feel like they, of course, with the young kid Jalen Carter. They feel like they're going to get pressure from, he's going to be able to do some things coming up inside. They expect, and we'll see whether Jordan Davis is able to give them more. There's another kid, the kid Williams, 93.
Milton Williams.
Milton Williams, that's right. Coming up the middle. I think they think that they might be able to have that type of a pass rush. So clearly, they're going to rely on them to get there. So, they're not going to change that. Because most of the guys are still here. So I just think that it might be changes in the coverages they use where maybe they don't play as much zone. Maybe they play more man-to-man, and do some things where maybe they send some guys off the corner some. But I think for the most part, they're going to lean on those corners. And with Devontae Maddox, you've got some outstanding coverage corners. So I think they're going to ask them to play man-to-man.
I'm going to
lean on that pass rush to get there. And that way you take pressure off your safeties, see, because they're just playing deep. And then so you're taking pressure off the safeties, putting more pressure on the corner.
Getting home takes, and like you said, getting home helps.
Yeah.
All your issues. I'm going to ask you one last question here. And I'm going to start asking this to everybody. And I think this is a fair question because to me, as you know, Garry, in this league, man, consistency is year in and year out process. It's not a 1-year deal.
That's right.
How are you so sold and sure that Jalen Hurts is not a 1-year wonder?
Well, the big thing that I think is that, the thing that really was the biggest question to me was his ability to get that ball there and be accurate, and the fact that, he was outstanding. I think he's going to get better and better with his decision-making. And I think that's probably going to allow him to be less accurate, like because he's going to know where he's going and everything. So I think that he's going to be able to play near that same level. Again, I don't want him running the ball as much. I want him to just play from the pocket. I think that Did you have this same thought process on Wentz after Wentz had that 4,000 passing year, that he was going to continue to get better? Not necessarily.
Okay.
But I didn't think he was going to drop off. I'll tell you, I didn't think it. But
Neither did I.
I didn't know though. See, the thing that changed with Wentz was his thinking, which is, he had the good year and everything, but he got to where you're trying to make things out of plays that aren't there. You got to be thinking, take what they give me. Don't turn the ball over. And see, I think Jalen will be able to take care of the football. The thing about Carson is the one thing that's taking him down is he doesn't take care of the football. And we all know you can't win in the NFL if you do not take care of the football. If you're turning the football over, you are losing. It's as simple. It's the number one stat when it has to do with winning or losing, turnovers. You can't turn the ball over and win in the NFL. You can't do that. I don't think Jalen's going to have a problem in that area. That's why I don't see the big drop-off.
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
So Tannehill and even Geno Smith kind of give hope to quarterbacks that maybe go through downtimes in their career.
Yeah.
Do you think Wentz is one of those candidates like Ryan Tannehill? He was terrible with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And Geno Smith bounced around the league for a decade.
Yeah.
And he had this superstar year a year ago.
Yep.
Do you think Wentz falls in that category and in that barrel where he could come back in the right situation?
I think he could. I do. Because the year a couple years ago when he lost that game against Jacksonville at the end of the season, he had a good year. He had thrown like 20-some touchdowns?
He 27 touchdowns, 7 picks.
Come on.
He was around 67% completion percentage,
who wouldn't take
3,800
that?
Passing yards.
Tell me who wouldn't take that.
No, that would I thought he had a great year in Indianapolis.
Yeah, but see, he finished up with that bad game against Jacksonville.
Yeah, Raiders in Jacksonville. But we realize now that it was just a bad coach, and that Jacksonville team actually had some pretty good ball players on it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, is, he just seemed to get worse from that, where he just started pressing. Look, take what the defense gives you. That's where, a good quarterback's going to know, okay, this is what they're in. I'm going to take this. I'm not going to turn the ball over. If I got a special receiver who I know I could throw the ball to, and he's going to take care of me, meaning he's not going to let it get picked off. In a one-on-one situation, I'll take chances with that guy. I'm not taking chances with everybody because guys aren't the same. If you got a special talent you're throwing to, then you will make it some exceptions with him. But other than that, you got to take care of the football. That is one of the keys to winning in the NFL. You can't be turning the ball over, and come on, you're basically burning your own check. You're not going to survive as a quarterback in the NFL turning the ball over, and that's what Carson has to come to, that realization of not, just being where like almost every play he's living on the edge. Can't live on the edge like that, and you got to take care of the football. And I still think he could turn it back around because I have, like I said, a couple years ago, he was playing outstanding football.
He was.
With those numbers, if he could put up numbers like that, come on. How many teams in the league?
Any team would want to have that. Hey, real quick, you think the Phillies are a one-year wonder?
Well, I wouldn't say that they're just a one-year wonder, but winning the all, going to the World Series every year. You got to have the pitching, and that's really hurt them. The bats, I think, will come back, but when your pitching is where guys start talking about arms hurting and things like that, that's what really concerns me. Because
hey Gary, they got to fix that minor league system because the dogs they bring up and put on that bench. You look at Atlanta. Atlanta gets hurt, they lose somebody, they bring a star up on their bench.
You're right.
And the Phillies,
they definitely have a problem there.
Dude, they bring guys up that haven't been in the game in 3 years. And you're like, the farm system in Philadelphia has not been the same in over 25 years.
No, it hasn't. Maybe I wouldn't say 25, but they have dipped down to where you don't see.
Surely since the Charlie Manuel years.
That's right. You don't see talent coming up, with the Phillies anymore. No, you don't see that. And, come on, you got to be able to have that talent line, and really, the key is you got to be going down to, Latin America, somewhere down there getting talent, because that's where it's all, most of it's coming from. And if you don't have the the source down there, then you're in trouble and you're not going to last long.
I know. I'm surprised too because Dave did such a good job with the Florida Marlins, and he's not doing that with the minor league system. Gary, I appreciate it, my friend.
Okay.
We'll catch up with you next week. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Have a good one.
That is our great friend, Garry Cobb. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. I want to expand on that a little bit on Carson Wentz. Can he turn it around? Yale said something earlier. San Francisco, why aren't they calling him Sam Darnold? You're kidding, right? Why aren't teams calling Carson Wentz? Let's hit on that next. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.